Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Anubha Rohatgi, and with me is Reshma Tiwari with the evening news. The headlines. Centre to kickstart free distribution of 75% of total COVID vaccines from Monday to all states and union territories. Over 27 crore 23 lakh vaccine doses administered in the country so far. National recovery rate reaches 96.16%. Centre asks states and union territories to take strict action against those involved in assault of healthcare professionals. Telangana government decides to lift COVID-19 restrictions completely in the state. Education Ministry releases guidelines for parent participation in home-based learning during school closure. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address main event of 7th International Yoga Day on Monday. Ibrahim Raisi secures landslide victory in Iran's presidential election. Indian sprint legend Milkha Singh cremated with full state honours in Chandigarh. In men's cricket, World Test Championship final between India and New Zealand underway at Southampton. Indian women fight back against host England on fourth day of one-off test at Bristol. And in Euro Cup football, Hungary hold France to 1-1 draw in Group F encounter, Portugal to face Germany while Spain to take on Poland in other group matches. As many states are relaxing lockdown norms, we advise our listeners not to lower their guard as the COVID-19 pandemic remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 4 simple steps. Wear a face mask. Maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene, and get vaccinated. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011 2397 8046 and 1075. And now the news. In order to strengthen and further ramp up the COVID-19 vaccination drive in the country, the centre will from Monday kickstart the free distribution of 75% of total COVID vaccines cleared by the Central Drug Lab to all states and union territories. This includes vaccines for beneficiaries of all age groups, including those between 18 and 44 years. The procurement of vaccines by the centre, which is currently 50% of the total doses cleared by the Central Drug Lab, will be enhanced to 75%. The vaccines will then be given to states and union territories for administration to people of all age groups. The remaining 25% of vaccines can be purchased by private hospitals who will be able to charge a maximum service charge of 150 rupees for a single dose after the fixed price of the vaccine. The announcement regarding this was made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the 7th of this month in his address to the nation.
21 जून सोमवार से देश के हर राज्य में 18 वर्ष से ऊपर की उम्र के सभी नागरिकों के लिए भारत सरकार राज्यों को मुफ्त वैक्सीन मुहैया कराएगी। वैक्सीन निर्माताओं से कुल वैक्सीन उत्पादन का 75% हिस्सा भारत सरकार खुद ही खरीदकर राज्य सरकारों को मुफ्त देगी। यानी देश की किसी भी राज्य सरकार को वैक्सीन पर कुछ भी खर्च नहीं करना होगा।
After the commencement of this policy, states and union territories will not have to pay for the procurement of vaccines as the centre will bear all the expense for the same. An early estimate suggests that the new policy will cost the centre over 15,000 crore rupees more than its previously allocated 35,000 crore rupees for the vaccination program in the current financial year. The centre will also pay the GST of 5% on the vaccines procured, making vaccination at government facilities completely free for all eligible beneficiaries.
Union Minister for Minority Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi has said that a nationwide Jaan Hai to Jahaan Hai awareness campaign will be launched on Monday to create awareness on corona vaccination in rural and remote areas of the country. The campaign also aims to crush and curb the rumours and apprehensions being spread by some vested interests regarding the ongoing vaccination drive. Mr. Naqvi said that the nationwide awareness campaign will be launched from minority concentrated district of Rampur in Uttar Pradesh, and it will also be organized in different parts of the country. India has administered over 27 crore 23 lakh COVID vaccine doses to the eligible beneficiaries so far. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry said over 33 lakh vaccine doses were administered to the beneficiaries in the last 24 hours. The central government is continuously engaged in accelerating the pace of vaccination drive in the country with the cooperation of states and union territories.
The Union Health and Family Welfare Ministry has said that more than 2 crore 87 lakh COVID vaccine doses are still available with states and union territories to be administered to the beneficiaries. The ministry said the central government has provided over 28 crore 50 lakh COVID vaccine doses to states and union territories so far. The ministry has assured that over 52 lakh 26,000 vaccine doses will be provided to states and union territories within the next 3 days. Children below the age of 10 years will not be at risk due to COVID-19. In an exclusive interview with All India Radio News, Director of National Institute of Virology, NIV, at Pune, Dr. Priya Abraham said children were also exposed in the first and second wave of the pandemic. She added that the immune response of children handles the virus differently as compared to adults.
Children in particular are not going to be at risk, especially younger children below 10 years of age. It's not that children were not exposed in the first and second wave. They were very much exposed. Their immune response handles the virus differently as compared to young adults and older adults.
Speaking on the post-vaccination illness, Dr. Abraham said the illness is related to the immune response triggered by the virus in the vaccine formulation.
Symptoms after vaccination are related to delivery of the vaccine, and those are known as the allergic or reaction to the vaccine. These symptoms can vary from low-grade fever, muscle ache, tiredness. This is actually related to the immune response that is triggered after you have encountered the virus that is there in the vaccine formulation.
Tune in to the FM Gold channel of All India Radio at 9:15 tonight to listen to the interview.
India reported 60,753 new cases during the last 24 hours. The Health Ministry said a total of 97,743 patients of COVID-19 recovered during last 24 hours. This has taken the total recoveries across the country so far to over 2 crore 86 lakh 78,000. The national recovery rate now stands at 96.16%, and daily recoveries continue to outnumber the daily new cases for the 37th consecutive day. A total of 1,647 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours, taking the death toll to over 3,85,000. The centre today asked states and union territories to take strict action against those who assault healthcare professionals. It has told them to register institutional FIRs against assaulters and fast-track such cases. In a letter to state chief secretaries and administrators of union territories, Union Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla asked them to invoke provisions of the Epidemic Diseases Act, where applicable, to check the incident of threat or assault on doctors and healthcare professionals. He also reiterated that a close watch must be kept on any objectionable content in social media which may exacerbate such situations. Referring to earlier advisories to ensure safety of healthcare establishments and professionals, the Home Secretary said various remedial measures were suggested to check recurrence of such incidents, including adequate security at healthcare facilities, especially at COVID-19 designated hospitals, along with controlled and restricted access to the premises, deployment of quick response police teams at vulnerable locations, and effective local level medical intervention. Mr. Bhalla stressed that any incident of threat or assault on doctors or healthcare professionals may dampen their morale and create a sense of insecurity amongst them. This may adversely affect the healthcare response system.
The Telangana government has decided to lift COVID-19 restrictions completely in the state from tomorrow. The state cabinet, which met under the chairmanship of Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao, also announced that all schools, colleges and other educational institutes can reopen from 1st of July for offline classes. More from our correspondent.
After over a month of imposing lockdown curbs to check the surge in COVID-19 cases, the Telangana state government has decided to lift the shutdown completely from tomorrow. The State Cabinet has taken the decision keeping in view the considerable decline in new COVID cases and also the reports that the state health officials submitted. An official statement said the state has controlled the spread of infection faster than other states and lifting of lockdown decision came in the wake of significant decrease in the number of fresh cases in the state as well as neighboring states. Meanwhile, the government has directed the Educational Department to formulate guidelines for offline classes and students to attend classes physically from 1st July. Lakshmi, AIR News, Hyderabad.
Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa has announced further relaxation of restrictions in lockdown in 16 districts of the state where the positivity rate is below 5%. However, in another 14 districts with over 5% positivity rate, lockdown norms will continue as before. Among the relaxations announced in 16 districts, public buses and the metro will be functional with 50% capacity. Shops will stay open till 5 p.m. Hotels can serve food with 50% capacity. Jewelry shops, resorts and outdoor sports activities are allowed, but without spectators, and outdoor shooting has also been allowed. However, swimming pools, cinema halls, places of worship and shopping malls will remain closed. The new relaxations will be applicable till July 5th. The Chief Minister said that night curfew and weekend curfew will continue in all the districts.
COVID recovery rate in the national capital Delhi continues its upward trajectory with positivity rate declining to nearly 0.18%. The city recorded 135 fresh COVID cases in the last 24 hours, while 201 people recovered from it in the same time span. The city recorded 7 COVID-related deaths in the past 24 hours. The News Services Division of All India Radio in its bilingual live phone-in program Corona Jagrukta series tonight will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. Dr. Neeraj Nishchal, Associate Professor Medicine, AIIMS, will participate in the live discussion. This can be heard tonight on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Centre to kickstart free distribution of 75% of total COVID vaccines from Monday to all states and union territories. Over 27 crore 23 lakh vaccine doses administered in the country so far. National recovery rate reaches 96.16%. Centre asks states and union territories to take strict action against those involved in assault of healthcare professionals. Telangana government decides to lift COVID-19 restrictions completely in the state. Education Ministry releases guidelines for parent participation in home-based learning during school closure. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address main event of 7th International Yoga Day on Monday. Ibrahim Raisi secures landslide victory in Iran's presidential election. Indian sprint legend Milkha Singh cremated with full state honours in Chandigarh. In men's cricket, World Test Championship final between India and New Zealand underway at Southampton. Indian women fight back against hosts England on 4th day of one-off test at Bristol. And in Eurocup football, Hungary holds France to 1-1 draw in Group F encounter. Portugal to face Germany while Spain to take on Poland in other group matches. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
The Centre is disseminating awareness of national helpline numbers for the benefit of citizens during the COVID-19 pandemic. The helpline number of the Health and Family Welfare Ministry is 1075. The Child Helpline number is 1098. For senior citizens of Delhi, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, the helpline number is 14567. The helpline number of the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, NIMHANS, for psychological support is 08046110007. The Ayush COVID-19 Counselling helpline number is 14443. And MyGov WhatsApp help desk number is 9013151515.
The Education Ministry has released guidelines for parent participation in home-based learning during school closure and beyond. These guidelines emphasize on the need to create a safe, engaging and positive learning environment. Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank said these guidelines aim to provide information about participation and engagement with children during the school closure. The guidelines provide many simple tips for parents and others to facilitate children in home-based learning. The suggested activities are in accordance with the various stages of school education as per the National Education Policy. The guidelines lay emphasis on improving children's learning by monitoring and addressing their learning gaps. As cities gradually unlock, Railways is helping to bring back workers from different parts of the country. In the last 7 days, around 32,56,000 passengers, including migrant workers and other passengers, travelled by long-distance mail and express trains from areas like eastern Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Bengal and Odisha to various destinations including Delhi, Mumbai, Pune, Surat, Ahmedabad and Chennai. Indian Railways said all these trains are being operated as fully reserved trains, keeping in view the COVID protocol.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla over the completion of 2 years in the office. He said, over the last 2 years, Mr. Birla has ushered in a series of steps that have enriched India's parliamentary democracy and enhanced productivity, leading to the passage of many historic as well as pro-people legislations. The Prime Minister added that it is worth noting that the Speaker has placed special emphasis on giving first-time MPs, young MPs and women MPs the opportunity to speak on the floor of the House. In order to understand the local problems of farmers of Northeast region and provide scientific solutions, the Department of Biotechnology has issued a special call under Biotech Krishi Innovation Science Application Network Biotech Kisan scheme. The Ministry of Science and Technology has said the present call specifically focuses on the Northeast region as it is predominantly agrarian with 70% of its workforce engaged in agriculture and allied sector for livelihood. It further added that the region produces merely 1.5% of country's food grain and continues to be a net importer of food grains even for its domestic consumption.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the main event of the 7th International Yoga Day on Monday. In view of the COVID-19 pandemic, the lead event of the International Day of Yoga this year will be a televised program and is scheduled to start at 6:30 a.m. on all Doordarshan channels. The event will also include an address by Minister of State for Ayush, Kiran Rijiju, and a live yoga demonstration by the Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga. Lakhs of yoga lovers have already committed themselves to be a part of this activity, doing yoga in the safety of their own homes. Those who require guidance for performing common yoga protocol have been invited to follow the live demonstration from the lead event, which will be televised on all Doordarshan channels. The yoga demonstration will follow the Prime Minister's address, which is scheduled from 7 to 7:45 a.m. The live yoga demonstration will be further followed by messages from 15 spiritual leaders and yoga gurus. The main theme of International Yoga Day this year is Yoga for Wellness, which is aligned to the current preoccupations. Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa held a video conference with 20 flood-prone districts regarding precautions to be taken during any calamity arising out of incessant rains. According to the State Flood Management Action Plan of 2021, 1,710 villages are flood-prone. As a precautionary measure, 4 NDRF teams are deployed for the rescue operation in Raichur, Kodagu, Belgavi and Dakshin Kannada. SDRF teams consisting of over 200 personnel are deputed here with necessary equipment. More from our Bangalore correspondent.
The Chief Minister has asked the district administration to be prepared with the rescue and relief measures. Around 1,000 crore rupees fund is made available to the district administration for disaster management. To tackle the flood situation, training has been imparted to implement the disaster management plan. Task force, operational teams and WhatsApp groups have been created to manage the flood situation. A flood forecast cell has been established at Karnataka State Natural Disaster Monitoring Center. The district administration has been asked to take necessary action to provide proper infrastructure in villages to save human life and livestock. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha, in an effort to take good governance to the grassroots level and strengthen the participatory democracy, will interact with the DDCs, BDCs and Panchayat representatives once every month. This initiative of the government will give a platform to the elected representatives for voicing the aspirations of the people and area-specific needs for ensuring equitable development for all. More from our Srinagar correspondent.
The Jammu and Kashmir government is making all-out efforts to make Panchayati Raj more vibrant institutions in the Union Territory. Rural Development and Panchayati Raj Department will formulate a mechanism for holding interaction of the Lieutenant Governor with all three tiers of Panchayati Raj institutions, including DDCs, once every month. Mr. Sinha has directed the Deputy Commissioners and the concerned officers to ensure that PRI representatives are an integral part of every government function, accorded due protocol, and involved at every stage of planning and implementation of the developmental projects. The LG Mulakat will undoubtedly become a platform to voice the developmental aspirations and a strong mechanism to address area-specific needs of the people. Sunil Kohl, AIR News, Srinagar.
Indian Air Force IAF Chief RKS Bhadoria today said the Rafale aircraft induction program is going on as per the schedule. He said the IAF is undergoing a monumental transformation with rapid infusion of technologies due to evolving security challenges and rising geopolitical uncertainty in the neighborhood. The IAF chief was addressing a media conference after the passing out parade at the Air Force Academy at Dundigal near Hyderabad.
इंटीग्रेटेड थिएटर कमांड का डिस्कशन चल रहा है, उसके डेलिब्रेशंस शुरू हो गए हैं हायर लेवल पे एंड वो डेलिब्रेशन आर नाउ प्रोग्रेसिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ कैपेबिलिटी एनहांसमेंट. राफेल के कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के बाद पैरेलल में हमने एलसीए का किया है, मार्क 1 है, तो 3.5 साल में वो इंडक्शन शुरू होगा. उसमें सबसे बड़ा है एमका का, तो 5th जनरेशन एयरक्राफ्ट जो इंडिजिनसली प्रोड्यूस होगा वो डिसीजन इन प्रिंसिपल ले लिया गया है, तो वो हमारी इंडस्ट्री के साथ होगा, डीआरडीओ करेगा. अलॉन्ग विद दैट देयर आर मेनी बड़े बड़े प्रोजेक्ट हैं जो डीआरडीओ अपनी इंडस्ट्री के साथ है, जैसे एयरबस C20 बेस्ड हमारा AEW एयरक्राफ्ट जो एम्ब्रेयर का फॉलोअप होगा, एक वो बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट है. इन टर्म्स ऑफ रेडार, सेंसर, वेपन, स्टैंड ऑफ वेपन, बहुत प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं.
Ibrahim Raisi, a hardline judge under US sanctions for human rights abuses, has secured a landslide victory in Iran's presidential election. The turnout in yesterday's four-man race was a low turnout of around 48%. According to Interior Ministry official Jamal Orfi, around 90% of the 28.6 million ballots have been counted, and Raisi's tally was 17.8 million. Appointed by Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei to the high-profile job of Judiciary Chief in 2019, Raisi was placed under US sanctions a few months later over human rights violations. The mortal remains of Indian sprint legend Flying Sikh Milkha Singh were cremated with full state honours in Chandigarh this evening. The legendary athlete succumbed to post-COVID-19 complications last night at PGI-MER Hospital in Chandigarh after a month-long battle with the virus. He was 91 years old. Our correspondent reports the Punjab government observed one-day state mourning as a mark of respect to the departed soul. A number of dignitaries including Union Sports Minister Kiran Rijiju, Punjab Governor VP Singh Badnoor, Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh and others paid their last respects to the sporting icon at the cremation ground. The Padma Shri awardee survived by his golfer son Jeev Milkha Singh and 3 daughters. His wife Nirmal Kaur lost her life recently to the coronavirus infection. Honorary Captain Milkha Singh was an Indian track and field sprinter who was introduced to the sport while serving in the Indian Army. He was the only athlete to win gold in 400 meters race at the Asian Games as well as the Commonwealth Games. He also won gold medals in the 1958 and 1962 Asian Games. The Flying Sikh represented India in the 1956 Summer Olympics in Melbourne, 1960 Summer Olympics in Rome and the 1964 Summer Olympics in Tokyo. He was awarded the Padma Shri, India's 4th highest civilian honour, in recognition of his sporting achievements. In an exclusive interview with Prasar Bharati, Milkha Singh had shared his memories of equalling the record of the Melbourne Olympic gold medalist.
मैंने करीबन कोई रोम ओलंपिक से पहले करीबन 80 इंटरनेशनल रेसेस दौड़ी हैं और 80 के अंदर मैंने 77 रेसेस जो हैं दुनिया के अंदर जीती हैं, जो एक रिकॉर्ड है दुनिया का, वो मानते हैं। और इसी वजह से मुझे हेलम्स वर्ल्ड ट्रॉफी मिली थी, अमेरिका वालों ने दी थी 1959 के अंदर। उनसे पहले मुझे मिल गई थी, क्योंकि ये उन्होंने कहा था कि दुनिया का बेस्ट एथलीट है जो इतनी रेसेस के अंदर, और टाइमिंग मेरा जो था, जितनी रेसेस मैंने दौड़ी करीबन कोई 46 सेकंड्स के पास नीचे ऊपर, नीचे एक आधा पॉइंट नीचे, एक आधा पॉइंट ऊपर, सब रेसेस मैंने उसी टाइमिंग में दौड़ी।
President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and several other dignitaries paid glowing tributes to the legendary athlete.
With less than 35 days remaining for the start of the Tokyo Olympics, All India Radio brings you a special series on India's medal prospects at the sporting extravaganza. Today we talk about India's hope in the shooting, Apurvi Chandela. Jaipur-born Apurvi Chandela wanted to become a sports journalist, but Abhinav Bindra's gold medal at the Beijing 2008 Olympic Games inspired her to become a shooter, and Apurvi started preparing herself to enter the world of sports.
My inspiration to take up the sport has been Abhinav Bindra. I liked rifle more, so I took to rifle shooting.
Apurvi made her mark at the national level by winning the gold medal at the India School Shooting Championship in 2009. Between 2012 and 19, Apurvi won the national championship 6 times. In 2016, Apurvi started with the Rio Olympics, but could not perform as per her expectations in this Mahakumbh of the Games. But she did not give up and made a fresh start and won a bronze medal in the Commonwealth Games in 2018. She won the gold medal at the 2019 ISSF World Cup in New Delhi and set a world record of 252.9 in the 10-meter air rifle event. Apurvi also secured a quota spot to participate in the Tokyo Olympics, where she is aiming to win a gold medal for India.
After not having a very successful run at the Rio Olympics, the most important thing that I've taken from there and learned is that highs and lows are a part and parcel of the game, and I think that has been probably the most difficult phase for me, and coming out of it has made me extremely strong, and I think that was extremely important at that time for me to learn.
Meanwhile, Tokyo Governor Yuriko Koiko today cancelled all public viewing sites for the Summer Olympics, diverting some venues to the COVID-19 vaccination centres instead.
In men's cricket, India were 134 for 3 in their first innings against New Zealand on the second day of the World Test Championship final, before the match was disrupted by bad light this evening. Indian skipper Virat Kohli at 40 and Ajinkya Rahane at 22 were at the crease when the match was disrupted. Rain had wiped out the entire first day of the match at Southampton, United Kingdom yesterday. Earlier, New Zealand had won the toss and chose to field first. In women's cricket, India were 243 for the loss of 8 in their second innings in the follow-on against England on the fourth day of the one-off test at Bristol when reports last came in. The Indian team was forced to follow on yesterday when they were bowled out for only 231 in their first innings, giving the hosts a healthy lead of 165 runs. In Euro Cup football, Hungary held France to a 1-1 draw in Group F encounter at Budapest today. Portugal will face Germany at 9:30 p.m. in another Group F match. Spain will take on Poland in a Group E game at 12:30 tonight.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum temperature will be 26 degrees and the maximum will go up to 37 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The minimum temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be 33 degrees. Jammu will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or dust storm. Srinagar will have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or the evening. Leh will have a partly cloudy sky. Gilgit will see a mainly clear sky, and Muzaffarabad will have a partly cloudy sky becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Centre to kickstart free distribution of 75% of total COVID vaccines from Monday to all states and union territories. Over 27 crore 23 lakh vaccine doses administered in the country so far. National recovery rate reaches 96.16%. Centre asks states and union territories to take strict action against those involved in assault of healthcare professionals. Telangana government decides to lift COVID-19 restrictions completely in the state. Education Ministry releases guidelines for parent participation in home-based learning during school closure. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address main event of 7th International Yoga Day on Monday. Ibrahim Raisi secures landslide victory in Iran's presidential election. Indian sprint legend Milkha Singh cremated with full state honours in Chandigarh. In men's cricket, bad luck disrupts World Test Championship final between India and New Zealand at Southampton. Indian women fight back against host England on fourth day of one-off test at Bristol. And in Eurocup football, Hungary hold France to a 1-1 draw in Group F encounter. Portugal to face Germany, while Spain to take on Poland in other group matches. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.